welcome to Romance Book Monsters. It's your girl Lollipop here with Kitty Boo.
Hi guys.
And today we are talking about Jazmyne and Lucius, Rojo, Texas, Book 3 by Cee Bowerman. We've already reviewed Book 1 and 2 here on our channel, so I will link that to you you should see it here. And you'll be able to take a look and check out the other ones if you haven't already seen those videos and reviews. But we definitely love Cee Bowerman here. I discovered her based on Kitty Boo end of last year. And it's been a Cee Bowerman life because she is, as we've mentioned before, very prolific. And
she is.
And quite frankly, I love it. I don't know about you.
Yes, every month's just Cee Bowerman goodness.
Exactly. So a little bit about Jazmyne and Lucius. So Jazmyne is the roommate of Atlas that we discussed in Book 2. So this story kind of weaves a little bit of Book 1, a little bit of Book 2, together with Book 3 as we met Jazmyne in Book 1, Jazmyne and Atlas in Book 1. Atlas's story was Book 2, and now we finally get to know more about Jazmyne and Lucius. And it's interesting because, as we know, this series is kind of like related to her motorcycle club series. So Jazmyne's brother is part of a motorcycle club. So it's definitely interesting because Lucius is a police officer and he is very black and white. And obviously with Jazmyne, the shades of gray is very important. So I'm definitely interested to see more of how they talk about these two characters in the future, or if she even brings them up, because through this book he did learn gray. He had to learn gray, as we know, because there's some things that happen, and quite frankly I loved it. What about you?
I did too, and yeah, he definitely had to learn gray. He was definitely like a very like black and white type person, and I guess in terms of his profession, that can like really be good to like have like strict lines of what's right and wrong, because it's not like, he's a judge where I imagine that job would require needing a little bit of gray. But as a police officer, I think it's like a very good thing that he's like so strict. But in terms of relationships, that definitely does not work. So I was happy that he was able to adjust more. Right. It wouldn't have worked out with her being so close to her family.
Exactly, which is why she tried to keep him a secret for so long.
I don't even think that was it. I think even if he was a cop that still could see gray, I don't think she would have like told the family about him.
Well, that's what I meant in general, because he was a cop.
But no, because remember, they didn't even know about the boyfriend that she had in college.
Well, yeah, she wouldn't tell him about the boyfriend, but being a cop was the extra nail. It was like the nail that sealed the coffin.
Yeah. And even his own family was like, son, you're just too black and white. Always happen. Even before you were a cop. So I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Now, as I was mentioning before this call, my favorite piece was because his name is Lucius. And when he did meet the family, and the whole running joke about him sounding like a vampire, and they would name him every vampire until they ran out of vampires to call him. And then they would just come up with random names. It was awesome. Like, your name sound like a vampire name.
Lucius. I so love this group. But yeah, I did like hate that she hid him for so long. And I like really felt bad for him when he was like became like the hidden secret. Here's like this upstanding guy, he's a policeman, and on paper, like he's perfect. And somebody is like, don't peek out the door. Stay in a room type situation. Everybody see you coming and going.
Right, exactly.
Night type thing. So that had to be like a real hard pill to swallow.
I know we've talked about crazy exes, crazy people who aren't exes. I do feel like what was his name again? He took the cake.
He was a nut.
I was like, how could anybody be more nuts than this? I missed my place with my notes. I was like,
basically like a serial rapist / killer.
Yes, he was. Brian. That was his name. Nuts. And the fact that his daddy been covering up for him, and then to find out he kept trophies. I'm like, but I guess that's a serial thinger kind of thing though. But I was like, oh,
happy that when they punished him, they punished the daddy too.
You know what? Their punishment was the best. I was like, I was sitting here on pins and needles waiting for what I was going to figure out what they was going to do to that fool next. I was like, ooh, they set him up. And I don't want to mess it up for nobody who hasn't read the book yet, but they set that fool up to get caught. I was so happy. And I was
like, what's going on?
Exactly. I was like, did I miss something? Oh, that was planned. I was like, they got so many people involved. They got the construction people involved. There was they chose the right locations to do stuff to get the maximum amount of the right people in the room to witness him acting a fool, so that when things did start popping off, it didn't seem like it was coming out of left field.
Right. Oh yeah, they wrote that out well.
Honestly, this is probably my favorite book from her. I'm not even gonna lie, because it was just so entertaining, and it was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen next? Like, I really, really and truly like read this book. It didn't take me days, because once I got into it, and especially when that last half of the book was fire.
I've read like so many of her books that I would have to say, like, my favorite is Kale, his follow-up book, just because the plot line was like so interesting. I had never seen it before. Like, a motorcycle club member like starts a pen pal with a woman in prison.
And I remember you telling me about that.
Again. So that was just so cool. So I would have to say Kale is my all-time favorite book for her. But I love the rest of the series too.
I haven't read that one, so
you must. Don't just go off of what I say. You gotta read Kale.
There's so much to read.
I know. I mean,
trying to go back.
That series is a part of the King series, and she just released, I think, the 14th book in that series.
I've read maybe 2.
I think Kale is maybe the first book in the series. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I read 2, maybe 3. I don't remember. I remember Fane. Was Fane part of the Kings?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the other one that
Fane hooked up with his sister.
And the other one that likes to cook. Hank. Yes.
I gotta love Hank.
Definitely love Hank. So, and as I was saying, the bad guy Brian, obviously he is a lawyer, and his father's a judge, which is why he was able to get away with just being evil. Like, when you found out, when she was trying to convince people that he killed her boyfriend, and they were like, no, he had an alibi, but she was like, but who else would do it? Like, really? And then for him to get such a slap on the wrist for what he did to her, man, I was upset.
Yeah, that was very upsetting. Just how people like this can get away with stuff like this, and then they just continue to get worse and worse and better at hiding it.
What he did to his soon-to-be ex-wife's dog, though.
Oh yeah,
dude is nuts. He was like, "Oh, you gonna leave me? Bet."
Yeah,
at least he didn't kill her though.
Right?
He couldn't kill her.
I would have eventually killed her, some years down the road, that obsessive type. I could definitely see him doing years later.
That's true. That is true. But yeah, as I said, I love this book. I personally 5 out of 5. I loved it. There was no part to me, especially that second half. That second half was popping.
Yeah, we definitely got to talk about how and why Jazmyne was just so wanting her brother's approval, that she would keep her dream man a complete secret. Their upbringing was so just
traumatic.
traumatic and sucky.
Yeah, it was sucky, but for me personally, I haven't read her brother's story. So I felt that they went into it, but they didn't go into it. So I can only talk about the high level that they talked about in her story. So I feel like her two brother stories would give more detail as they were older than her. Like I knew the brother was stricken, he was raising them, he was doing all kind of stuff to make money to feed the kids because the parents were no good.
Yeah.
And I know the other brother, I know he was helping raise them as well, Marcus. So, but in this book, they did not go in as deep on the parents because I feel like she was a little young at the time.
She was. That is true. It's just like it's starting to like blend for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole entire like series line. So it's like, oh, I know this, I know that.
Yeah.
But you're right. You get more of her parents' background in Lout's story, which is a book in the King series by Cee Bowerman.
But I do understand the father was no good, the mother was no good, the siblings tried to raise. Whenever I know they mentioned that whenever the Kings tried to help, or like people in the community tried to help, the parents the father especially would get really upset, and they were afraid that the children will get hurt by them trying to help, and that would not make the situation better. And they even discussed it. If that was today, they would have took them kids away. But obviously, this is a different time. This was 20 years.
The mother was so ridiculous that when the father started wanting to abuse the little girls because they were like much younger than like the boys, and one of the older boys like ended up attacking the dad because he was going to beat one of the girls, and he fell down some stairs and basically broke his back. And the mother wasn't even going to say that the father was doing something wrong. She was going to let her son go to prison for it. Like the motorcycle club, like he was already on their radar. They had to step in with their lawyers and like get somebody to help him out.
Yeah, they didn't really talk about that much in Jazmyne's book. But I'm not surprised. The mother seemed like she was hella trifling. So it makes perfect sense to me that that's what happened. But I can see, like, they were literally they raised her. Yeah. So she would do anything, and she did not want to cause her brothers to feel any kind of way. She wanted them to think that, that she was, like, her life was all beautiful and open, and that she never had any issues.
Right. Like she didn't want them to go to jail because even though like this motorcycle club is clean, they're not like 1%ers, and they all have like legitimate jobs. Like they are quick to bring the pain on anybody that comes at their club or at their family or anything. They are real quick to be like.
Yeah, that was another thing she did, because she knew that they'll take justice in their own hands. They're very vigilante, as we say, in that sense. She did not want, especially since she realized she wasn't sure about the whole Gray thing. She knew he was very black and white. She didn't want to put him in a position where he saw something and had to say something about her family, because obviously that would put him in a bad position as well. Even in this book, his chief of police, I think it was, did say something to him when he was like, "That's my girlfriend." And he kind of insinuated like, everything gonna be cool, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, she was right in that sense that potentially it could affect him.
Right, because the law is like, we don't know what they do, but we know they're doing something.
Exactly.
Situation.
I did, and as Cee Bowerman does, I did enjoy the epilogue, and then the epilogue. I did enjoy that she gives me complete satisfaction because I know what happened, in the near future and in the far future, because she gives you just enough. It was so funny because he told his partner that he would tell him after they retire, and the partner did not let that retirement step in good, because he's like, "See, you retired now, so what really happened."
Because that had to have been like a good 10 plus years later.
Like 20.
Yeah. Okay.
They were,
Now
they weren't that old. So probably a good 20, 25 years later.
You just knew he had been thinking about that forever.
I wonder if she's gonna give us a story for the partner. Cause or maybe information is
a cop and he's just now finding out what happened. So that leads me to believe that he never joined the club or the clique or the crew.
Well, yes. So the reason why, and maybe not a full story, but I would love to figure out more about, how they ended up with the babies and him and his partner and all of that stuff. Cause, isn't his partner, because his partner ends up with 2 kids, and I can't remember for the life of me how, because they mentioned it. Yes, with the partner, or was it her brother?
Her brother Marcus has a partner, and they have 2 kids.
Okay, maybe that's what
they ended up with those kids, because I think one of the guy's sibling died, and she had kids, so they inherited.
Oh no, then it is his partner, because 2 people move in with them too. And anyway, it's total sidebar. We're getting off into the minutia of the story. But as I said, there's a lot. It's not a long book, but it's a deep book, and I highly
it is. And I love when he finds out that, she has this horrible history with that serial rapist. Mm-hmm. And he goes to the clubhouse to tell all the guys, basically her brother and all of her brother's motorcycle gang club members. And here's this cop with all these motorcycle club members. And he's got to tell them about her information that they had absolutely no idea about. Mm-hmm. So that was like the lion in the lion's den. And then they had to search him, and they took his clothes and
he took off everything.
They took everything.
He was like, you know what? Whatever. I ain't got nothing to hide. we got to fix this problem, and I can't do it myself, basically. So he was willing to put it all out there because he loved her, and I loved it.
I'm gonna go back and reread that scene. That was quality.
So what would you rate? We already know I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. I love this.
I definitely give this one a 5 out of 5.
Awesome. Well, as you know, let us know in the comments. Have you read the book? Have you read other Cee Bowerman books? What did you think about the book? I know we talk about a lot of Cee Bowerman, and one of the things we're doing is we're trying to diversify, have more authors, because we could talk about Cee Bowerman and Ciara St. James every month because they always dropping something, whether it's this line or the another line. But also, don't forget to subscribe, share. Let us know how you think about the channel. Recommend any books you think we should jump on, any new authors, because we're definitely open to hearing anything from you, Kitty Boo.
Yes, I'm always on the lookout for a good motorcycle club where I'm not worrying about the guy going to prison. So if another good motorcycle club line where they're mostly clean and above board, and they're not selling drugs and all that stuff, let us know the author and the series name.
Thank you for joining us today, and talk to you soon.
See you later.